All powers to oppressed people, African power to an African people, and Black power. It's your brother Yang and Kruma, man, coming to you today, like I always do. Let me handle that business. Like I always do when I have that opportunity, man, to build and share. Have a few minutes today, so I said, what better time than to rap to my people after a high-powered debate like we had last night with Queen Nandi and the brother KOT. Definitely, man. Shouts out to Solar Vision Debate League, to all its debaters on fire. That thing is that thing is growing. We only look forward to seeing more powerful, hot ass debates coming out of there. But one of the things I wanted to do, peace. In fact, man, let me do this, man, so I can peace, mellow cap, so I can get right. Um, y'all give me a minute. I'm trying to figure something out. I'm rocking like, all right, yeah, give me a second. We'll get this together. Hold on, fam. All right, hold on, family. Y'all know how to bear with me for a minute. Let's do that. Let's take it off my cam for a moment. Get our bearings together. All right. Let's get it like that. There we go. I feel a little better with this. Was trying to get it together. Um, yeah, jump up here, son. I wanted to discuss the debate last night. Not so much the debate itself, but just the concept of the base. Once again, man, out of Nandi's camp, Queen Nandi doing the damn thing, bringing vital information. And it's difficult to bring that type of information when you're fighting revisionist history, when you're fighting a history that has been intentionally, when you're fighting a history that has been intentionally um, changed, when it's been intentionally written in a certain way to kind of, um, have us not only view history from a certain perspective, but when you from the way that you view history will be also the way that you participate in it. So I was trying to find, I thought, like I said, man, shout out to Nandi again for what I felt like was fighting an uphill battle, especially fighting revisionist, integrationist history or revisionist participatory history from people who want to say that participation, that integration into this system is the way. And in order for people to try to violate that, to try to validate, excuse me, in order for people to try to validate that position, they have to go back and retell history. In order for people to really get us to buy into the integrationist, assimilationist philosophy and participation and way of life, social interaction, you have to go back and rewrite history. And one of the ways of rewriting that history is to pretend that we were already integrated, that there was not a fight amongst Black people or not a movement and ideology amongst Black people, amongst us in our self-determination and struggle, in our I would say in our liberation struggle, uh, that there wasn't a movement amongst us that felt like integration was the answer. What's going on, Black Son?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Talking
I'm like,
about this Nundi's debate, man, and some of the points and how shouts out again to Nandi, Queen Nandi, and congratulations on the win. But how not just Nandi, yourself, and
Right.
eventually me. I cannot wait to get back to Atlanta and get back to the things I need, my computers and things. But how a lot of our debates are uphill debates based on revisionist history, based on just the bombardment
Yes.
of integrationist propaganda, public schools. You know what I'm saying? We're
Yes.
fighting, uh, you know, the public school system.
That's right.
And people may say, well, what do you mean fighting the public school system, brother? I'm not, this information isn't from public schools. I'm talking about the public school being your base foundation, being the cornerstone of your education or the cornerstone of your pursuit of knowledge. And the public schools are dedicated to reinforce the capitalist system, the white supremacist system.
That's a fact.
The
That's a
public
fact.
school is a superstructure of that.
That's right.
So when you talk about, hey, peace, sunshine. So when you talk about seeking solutions to the problems, from the tools or the resources that you pull from intellectually, philosophically, ideologically, are they, is the cornerstone of that, is the meat of that, the base of that something you got from public schools? You're being forced, indoctrinated into participating and furthering the philosophy of this system, this country. And I would say yes. I wanted to know, I was curious as to know when actually black people became, if their argument isn't that Dr. Martin Luther King advocated integration, that he only advocated equality, that it wasn't an integration push, that we were already integrated before the advent of a Dr. Martin Luther the King, like they call him in Coming to America, Martin Luther the King, like Dr. King. If he wasn't a big proponent or champion of integration, and you're saying we were integrated all already, I would like to know when we became integrated.
Well, Yanga, um, I got several things to say about that. You talked about the educational system. We got to understand, man, we living in a different time. And in that, well,
Mm-hmm.
you know what? I don't want to even say different time. I'm going to say the game was rigged from the start,
Okay.
the educational system. And now that we have educational lobbyists, it makes that uphill battle even harder.
Mm.
So, educational lobbyists, if it doesn't work for the benefit, now, because, lobbyists can change the laws and policies. And
Yeah,
then
they can.
yeah,
Yeah, they definitely play a part of that. They definitely play a part of influence in policy and law. Yeah, I
uh,
may jump up on the panel, man.
so I would say, I would go further. You say they play a part in that. I say they have total and full control of that,
Of what?
of the education.
The- Yeah, I mean, depending on who you're lobbying for, I wouldn't, because lobbyist, it's not a, it's not a category in itself. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I agree with that, but it depends who you're lobbying for. Like you said, the education lobbyist,
Uh huh.
um, that's lobbying. What are they lobbying for? Are they lobbying for more pay for teachers, more pay? I think it's more or less, for me, it's the ultra right. You know what I'm saying? These white supremacists, and
Okay.
even I would say the white evangelistic right, the ultra
Right.
fucking white, who right is who challenges any liberation curriculum pushed in our public school. And I would say you're right. They do that through lobbyists. They do that through threatening their ties to corporation. They do that through threatening, withholding, because they understand how capitalist America works, through
Right.
threatening certain corporations, withholding certain support and stuff. Or these corporations threaten to withhold support from these politicians, and to these politicians shoot down certain shit. to be pushed in, put in curriculum.
Right. Right. Well, see, the thing is, when you lobby, you don't have to take a vote. When you're lobbying,
Okay.
lobbying is just more than a legal bribery. Let's get this one thing straight, okay? Lobbying
Yeah.
also consists of, let me give you an example. Like, let's just say there's like some seats on the Board of Education, Department of Education, right?
Yeah.
Lobbying also means sitting my people of interest on that board.
That's what I'm saying. But who are your That's what I mean. But the lobbyists in themselves aren't an entity. The lobbyist, when you're lobbying for an entity. The
Right, that's true.
lobbyist is a level of operation in government. Like if
Right,
I was a business, I would want a lobbyist. If I was this
right,
corporation or this conglomerate of corporations or whatever, we would want lobbyists to represent our interest
right,
on Capitol Hill to the politicians. So, like you said, it's legal bribery. My corporation is going to endorse your campaign. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. As long as you vote no on this bill that says we can only dump so much toxin in the
right.
fucking Hudson.
That's right.
So, we have to look at who stands to gain from liberation theology not being a part of mainstream curriculum.
Right.
What corporation sends their lobbyists to the education lobbyists and pushes, what, like you got this big problem with critical race theory,
Yes.
So you have corporations who have a problem with this. And like I said, hell, we saw it on, what was it, House Bill 754? I forget what it is. And you and I talked about this before, where the lobbyists of these big corporations in Atlanta told, basically, I believe it was Zell Miller at the particular time, that if he passed this bill that they felt like was discriminatory
Hmm.
to homosexuals, LGBTQ community, I think
Right.
I put all the alphabets in there. Um, if they passed this bill, then these corporations would pull their support.
Right.
you know. So this is what the lobbyists go out and say. I agree with you. Black people don't have lobbyists because we don't have a mode to production power, a relationship to the mode of production, meaning corporations and all that good stuff. So we don't have people to go lobby what's in our best interest that I know of. Now I could be wrong. We could have somebody out there lobbying and championing black causes. I just off the top of my head am not aware of any.
I would say co-op black causes. So, um, oh gosh, I had the debate with Moses, and he talked about land ops, land opportunities where if we own land, if we just have the land, and you know now in a situation like that, um, oh, I mean, well, I mean, shoot, what direction can I go in with this? I mean, it's so many directions I can go with lobbying. Yanga, like I
Yeah,
said, we're just on level one. Like I said, the evolution of lobbyists, like I said, they just put people in the damn positions.
yeah,
They just put them in the
yeah,
positions. They just put them in there. Instead of bribing them, hell, you are now an official member. You sit on this board now. And a
yeah,
lot of ex politicians are becoming lobbyists because they know the game.
yeah. I mean, it's and I'm sure it's lucrative,
It is.
and I'm sure it's lucrative. You become a lobbyist when you were a politician, and you had this corporation, basically sponsoring you.
Yeah.
So when you get out of the life of politics, you already rub elbows with the politicians, and
Right.
you're familiar with
The
uh
lobbying process.
yeah, the lobbying process, because you dealt with a lobby. You're familiar with the policies of this corporation because they lobbied for you, or they lobbied to you for the corporation.
Right.
So yeah, it only makes sense. But like we said, it goes into the workings of capitalism. To reiterate, lobbying itself, the lobbyists itself aren't they aren't an entity. You know what I'm saying? To my understanding, the lobbyists are a channel of government. It's a way. It's a mechanism of government.
Right.
It is a link between the capitalist powers, corporations, and the government, and the politics, and participants in state government.
Right.
So the corporations that mean to exploit us, that mean to exploit our labor, and to exacerbate the already horrible living conditions that black people find themselves in by sucking up not only the resources but your time for less pay, because capitalism is all about surplus. So you find these people lobbying to politicians to for deregulation.
That's right.
That's the word.
Yes, sir.
That's your key word. Deregulation. You find the people uh because deregulation gives these corporations carte blanche,
Absolutely.
especially in third world countries.
You want to
It
give an
does right here. I
example?
don't know if any of y'all ever been to New Jersey. No disrespect to my Jerseyites, but damn, I mean, man, ooh. So you can see where deregulation, loose policies, you can see what it results into. I look at Cleveland, which was at one point in time a very uh, strong industrialist city, like many cities in the Midwest. And we look at the time at some of the height of its industrialization when these factories were running and stuff. Look at the infant mortality rate. And you can't help but to see the comparison. You look at the living conditions at the height of industrialization in America, period. But I would even go up to contemporary in Cleveland before um, your boy Clinton outsourced all your stuff. Before you start calling for your calling to talk to somebody about your phone and hello man, may I help you? Yes. I was like, man, I need somebody from America. I am in Texas. I was like, okay, you know. Uh so before a lot of things were outsourced, we look at the industrialization and all of that in the cities. We look at some of the conditions, especially in places where industrialization was taking place and the devils refused to allow the workers to unionize. We look at the conditions. People literally falling into damn machines grinding them up. No pensions, no work plans, no nothing. Straight exploitation of the labor. This is your capitalism. But like I said, this is how I know that there's no such thing as pure capitalism, because in order for there not to be an industrious revolution in America like there was in other places, it had to incorporate and begin to adapt socialist philosophies and practices such as unionization. They didn't like that shit, but they had shit called union busters and all kind of stuff. So, there is a tumultuous history in the capitalist revolution, or the evolution of capitalism in America. And believe me, you black people, you did play a part, willingly or unwillingly. What's going on in Yame?
Peace was good. Was good. Yanga, Black Sir. How y'all doing it?
Hey, Yama, what's going
Man, we
on?
good, brother. Sitting there kicking the bobo, was talking about Nandi's debate last night, which I thought it was a good one. Shout out to the debater, shout out to SVDL, to the league and everybody. I thought it was a great one, but it posed some questions. Was it about this integration thing, and I thought KOT made some good points. One of the things, though, I think was the use of equality. I think he was using equality, kept using it synonymous with integration. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't think he had a good grasp of the two terms.
yeah, because I would like to. So I was putting out there, but I heard people actually supporting that. In fact, someone reported to me, told me, like, said even Suave, I think, endorsed that. I don't know. I didn't personally hear it, but shit, ain't no telling. He supports nepotism, so I don't know what he'll say. Um,
Well,
so
I've heard Taz support that too. He was saying we was already integrated.
yeah, so I'm trying to figure out at what point in time are we integrated, and what are they calling integration? Are they calling proximity integration?
I think so.
I mean, we're like we integrate during slavery, were we integrated?
According to them, if you was close.
Okay, see, so I guess that's it. I mean, I can't debate that. If you're arguing proximity, if you're arguing occupying a space or an area next to you, or we share the same facility, if you're calling that integration on itself, I don't know. I can't argue that because I don't call slavery integration though. That's such a general. If you're using integration broadly like that, okay, yeah. But that's why I say a lot of these Negroes be snake oil peddlers, double talkers.
Yeah, they're not historians in the true sense of the word, because they give a historical fact, but they're trying to lay down their opinion of something.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. And
right.
Exactly. It's their opinion.
Yeah.
Especially if like you said, if you're trying to go back and say that, well, slavery doing, man, that is just such a general sweeping statement and definition of integration. And like I said, to me, it's double talking, snake oil pelling. Yeah. But we find after coming out of slavery, what I'm saying, the first thing we see is them going into black code.
Right. There's a quick jump where we begin to get into office. We're starting to make our way, but immediately they're changing laws in favor of the ex Confederates. So this is not integration. Now, this is, to me, integration means I have full access to all resources that anybody else in America has. I'll have all the rights and laws for me that a white person has, and if I sue them, I have equal justice. To me, that's a integrated system. I don't see America being an integrated system at no time. I mean, we can even say, even today, we have those problems. It's much better today in 2021 than it was 1821. But I can't say the 1800s we was a integrated society.
Yeah. I would agree with you, man. I can't say that either. I like that. If you could get that again, because I had stepped out when you were saying that definition of integration, or your understanding of what integration, because I was hearing piece of that, and I'm like, okay, that's how I understood it to be. But if you could say that one more time, brother.
So I see integration as if I step in a courtroom with somebody white, I know I have just as much a chance to win the case by law because the society is fully integrated. than somebody white. I don't see that in the 1800s, at no part of the 1800s. Yeah, we won some cases and we lost some cases. A black person riding down a road in Texas, somebody abuses his civil rights, he can take it to court, and he has a great chance of winning his case against somebody white. We know that wasn't taking place in the 1800s in Texas or anywhere else in the South. And I wouldn't go. Somebody might show an isolated case with one black person won a case and say, "See, we was integrated." Because no, you can't show me just one case. You have to show me.
I mean, even if you could participate, like you said, integration coming from the civil rights understanding, the black political understanding is, like you said, complete, not just equality under the law, but complete access to everything that every other citizen has.
Right.
So.
And what I saw is people forget about the manumission, the meritorious manumission, where a lot of black people will earn their freedom into white society. But that doesn't mean that you was fully integrated into the society.
Absolutely. You were forced, I believe we were forced, it's forced participation. You find out you're free. You know what I'm saying? So when was the 13th Amendment? I think 1865 or something like that. So 1865, this 13th Amendment comes out. I think a couple years before that, the Emancipation Proclamation by Abraham Lincoln. Yeah. So you have this so-called freedom, but there's not nowhere in the 13th Amendment is it saying you're free. I think that Nandi brought a good point when she brought out the case of Pesley versus Ferguson. When they found that his 13th Amendment rights, what he challenged that his 13th Amendment was being he challenged that his 13th Amendment rights was being violated. He challenged that his 13th Amendment rights was being violated. And they upheld that his rights to equality wasn't being violated, that you could be separate but equal.
Right.
Right. So we understood even before that our participation in their so-called system because they forced it upon us. They left us no recourse. They didn't give us a choice.
Right.
For separation. So they forced us to be subjugated. This is not integration. This is subjugation. And then under this subjugation, we still flourished. We said, because to a degree, we're not going to say it was equal. I see what Dr. King was saying. And I'm not an integrationist, but desegregation, because I'm not a segregationist. Segregation meant they controlled our resources. I'm a separatist.
Right.
It's a very big difference.
It's a big difference. Right.
So, but however, we were segregated yet equal. Black Wall Street proves it. Rosewood proves it. Not only were we equal, I would dare say, economically, socially, culturally, superior, advanced. I would dare say that.
Right.
Even under the most horrendous rules that they could enforce upon us to make sure that we didn't integrate. See, let us understand that after slavery, there was a question of what should be done with the black man and the black woman in America. Repatriation was an option. You had the government, I believe, allocated, I think, something like 600,000 to repatriation, and we have Liberia. So repatriation was an option. Or the subjugation, so-called freedom, but the Black Code law. Now, the 13th Amendment gave you equal rights, and then the 14th Amendment, no, it isn't. It's the 14th Amendment that gave you the equal protection. I'm sorry.
The 13th set you free.
set you free.
Yeah.
And then the 14th supposed to give you equal rights clause, except for, right? Am I correct? Prison or something?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. So, okay, 13th set us free. Come right back with the 14th. You what didn't integrate? They didn't say, okay, you integrated. They hit you with the slave code laws to already take your freedom. You weren't even integrated. So the black code was, man, it was shit like no loitering, anything to put you, Nandi talks about it, put you in these work camps, basically to reinstitute slavery. So so we never went through a period of integration.
Right.
We went from chattel slavery to legal slavery. Never a period of integration.
And that's why we have to study that period. I think black people have a better understanding of what really went down. So coming out the Civil War, there's something called the Civil Rights Act of 1866. That gave us our basic citizenship in the United States. The Republicans realized, man, we got to make it constitutional. They made it constitutional with the 14th and 15th Amendment. But then that's when they start, the president was Jackson.
Yeah. Andrew, old Andy.
Yeah, he started giving power back to the plantation masters and the leaders in the Confederate armies and leaders of the Confederate states. They started to regain their power. Even though we was gaining power, we started electing senators. That's when they begin to develop their paramilitary groups, later called KKK. And that shut everything down. So we never really got a chance. Even though we was building our land, we was building our homes, we still had to deal with the paramilitary groups, the terrorists.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So never fully integrated into the American system.
Never fully. And that's why I said Nandi's argument was a good one, because we can challenge that. Who even said with all of that participation, I was going to talk about the two concepts of black nationalism. And one of the concepts of it is, can you talk to okay. One of the concepts of black nationalism is, we understand classical black nationalism. I'm sorry, I have a lot going on. Classical black nationalism. But there's a black nationalism, pragmatic black nationalism, or practical black nationalism. This black nationalism speaks to the fact that, okay, let me explain the two briefly, and we'll go into it at a later time. Strong black nationalism or classic black nationalism is separation at the end of the day, ultimate goal. Pragmatic black nationalism is a lot more, us classical black nationalists use pragmatic black nationalists to come to the determination or come to the fruition of separation. We will use the science of pragmatic black nationalism, logic, reason, a lot of, a little more, it's a little more, to use this word, liberal. All right. So what we find here going on at this time, the Black Wall Streets and the Rosewoods and stuff, is what you call pragmatic black nationalism. Meaning we don't know that we still wouldn't have had integration not been introduced by the kings and stuff. We don't know that we wouldn't have opted out to still be some like a nation state, or to have that black, even though we have political participation, to control that state as our own black state. That is still a form of black nationalism.
Right.
That is still, it may not be separatist black nationalism, but it is a form of black nationalism. That's why I wanted to go in black nationalism, because you got capitalist black nationalism, revolutionary black nationalism, theological black nationalism. We have to know the various forms and modes so that we do know we're all on the same vehicle. It's just We're trying to make sure everybody knows that these particular ones can't be the driver if they're not in the best interest of everyone.
That's why I like Malcolm X's anti-theocratic black nationalism,
Right.
as opposed to Elijah Muhammad's theocratic black nationalism.
Right. But listen, fam, I had something come up. Let us, man, and we're getting it. I'm gonna have to take 10 to 15, 20 minutes. Let's take a pause. Everybody, just put a pin in what you're doing. Let's jump right back on. I appreciate everybody jump on. Yeah, man, I hope you can come back on in about 20.
Yeah.
All right. And let's continue this discussion.
All right.
All right, peace, fam.
All right, peace. Oh, shit.